In times of uncertainty, the well-being of your loved ones becomes your top priority.
Days of heavy rains across the southern state of Rio Grande do Sul, triggering massive floods.
Mandatory evacuations are in place in areas around Houston, Texas, as a major river there quickly rises.
And when the world feels unpredictable, MonkeyWorksPrep.com is here to help you secure peace of mind. Through our affiliate program with My Patriot Supply, MonkeyWorksPrep.com provides you with the supplies to prepare for any situation. From long-term food supplies to smaller prepping kits, you will have everything you need to take care of your family. Because knowing you're prepared is more than just planning. It's about spending time without worry, knowing your loved ones are taken care of. Visit MonkeyWorksPrep.com today.
All right. Good morning, folks. It's going to be your SITREP. It's 9/17/2024. Coming to you live here from the Monkey Lounge in the great state of Texas. And we're going to just get right into the details here. We got a lot to cover. The military industrial complex. I've said time and time again, war is an economy. And you're just going to see where they are. It's they're spending money like nobody's business right now. Not good. We're headed to war, folks. If you just get your head around that, because there's a lot that implies, right? That tells you that there's probably a draft coming. And it also tells you that, depending on the timing of this war, they may have something up their sleeve. So let's just pay close attention. Let's jump over here to the mini real fast as we get into what is up militarily wise over the United States. The big thing I want you to pay close attention to is the southern flank. Notice the amount of balloons. Remember, they were all kind of sticking together here. Now, all of a sudden, they got them spread out. We'll get into the watch list, and you'll see the coverage we have at our southern border. Well, I say southern border. They're really just flying everybody straight across that border. But hey, look, it's just the nature of where we are, I guess. But this, currently, I've stripped out all of the trainers. We've got probably a little over 100, maybe close to 150 when it comes to all of the trainers that we've already taken out. But let's go take a look at, the H-60 Blackhawks. This is probably all training related. This stuff up here would not be. We'll skip on through 33 of the H-60s, by the way. But then you look at the air refuelers, and there's just a sea of them. You're talking 27 KC-135s. Let me add to that the B767-200 Pegasus. That's 8 more. So on screen, we're sitting at 34 here. Probably got onesie twosies over into Europe. Let's see, anything up? No. That's very interesting. All right, so you can see that's a lot of fighter activity. When you start looking at the air refuelers, you start realizing that these guys are basically helping those fighters stay aloft, right? And so when you see large numbers of air refuelers, it's a pretty good indicator of fighters. So, all right. Back away from that again. It's 2:23, and we've stripped out over 100. So a very busy morning. Okay, let me jump over to Europe just for a minute. I'll give you a bottoms up number if we look at Europe in general. Of course, that does tie in Russia. Let me zoom in just a little bit. About 148. So given the fact that they are anywhere from 6 to 8 hours ahead of us, that's a pretty high number. Really is a high number. So. And then England, let's just kind of zoom in and see where England is in terms of their number. And it's about 50, roughly. A lot of trainer aircraft up right now and some Eurofighters to add to that. So, okay, take a look at our watch list here. This is where it gets kind of interesting, is just notice the amount of those circles. That's going to be somebody doing ISR work, right? Intelligence, Surveillance, Reconnaissance. That's what that stands for. Very, very active. And you can see most of the United States is covered up when it comes to some type of reconnaissance on we the people. All right. And let me see. Just kind of going through. I see that is a SAM flight. Looks to be going across the drink. So that's a blue and white dignitary. We've got that white 757 that comes back. That's usually tied to some type of international crisis. A couple of E6s up. Those are German intel balloons. Notice that they've got everything covered. And those are the ones we see. They're more out there than that. So let's see what else we got up that really... that's all Russians, kind of over the Caspian Sea area. And then you can see some low altitude drones over Turkey, as always. And then that one right there, that's kind of over that UAE, over the Persian Gulf, really. All right. So that's going to be where we are from a watch list perspective. Let's get into the intelligence gathering stuff. Just look at how busy we are over, and you're going to notice this too with the R-135s and everything, over Israel. It's pretty all up in their knickers. All right, you can see they're looking clearly at Moldova, which is a big concern. Serbia, another big concern. Then they get out over the, let's see, that's the Baltic Sea, and really right over where the Nord Stream is, at least part of it. And of course, you can see we get over the United States. Just notice you got little one bleeps down into South Florida. But look at the weird transaction of the flight patterns. This isn't what you would normally see from that intelligence community. The stuff we look at Europe, where you see a lot of that shoelace-looking flights, that's what you would typically see. So very unusual flight patterns here for the intelligence side. Now we talk drones. More intel gathering. Just notice that looks like a Q9 headed up towards Winnipeg. And we've got supposedly a whole bunch of stuff going on down in Florida where they're using some drones to simulate going to war against China. And don't see them up, though. It's kind of strange. These are low-altitude drones over Turkey. And then you can see the ones coming out of Malta looking, again, right into Israel's stuff. Right? And then that one, a little high-altitude that pops up out of Bahrain. And then Japan, a little bit busy. All right. Okay, now let's get over here to the sub hunters. And United States, yeah, you can see some stuff bouncing in and out of Hawaii. The normal flurry of activity out of Jacksonville, but then you see one heading across the drink. And of course, you can see, look at this as they get into not only the Baltic Sea, but they're over the North Sea. They're down into the Irish Sea. They're into the English Channel, kind of covering up all of the stuff around England. Again, sub-hunter, all right? And then you can see that one. It runs kind of in there just a little bit north of Crete and then up towards Constanta, in and out of that area, and then right off the coastline of Israel. All right, sub-hunters. Got nothing there. And drop down to Australia, and you can see a little bit of stuff there happening on the southern end. Some stuff headed down into Tasmania, and then looks like one launching out of New Zealand that just kind of goes dark. So let's talk R-135s. Again, this one is signal intelligence. And just see that they're obviously out over the water, right? That's one of those danger box areas they watch very closely. And then that square, they are triangulating something, or yeah, well, not really triangle, but you can see this one headed down to the Gulf of Mexico, and then it just disappears. Again, SIG intelligence. So it's gathering cell data, radar data, anything and everything that's going through the air. And a little bit of work up there in Alaska. I'm going to show you some other activity that's headed up there towards Alaska. That's kind of interesting. What's going on up there? And then this, you can see we're just going around Norway, Sweden, Finland, Denmark, right up along the border of Russia. Again, R-135s. And then you see them right here. Look at them off the coastline of Israel and Egypt. Bouncing in and out. It looks like Constanta may be the location that one flew out of. And then, of course, out of Okinawa up to Japan. All right, that's your R-135s. This is going to be your E6s. Remember, take charge, move out. This is talking to your subs. Notice it's over the Gulf of Mexico. That just means we've got a U.S. Navy asset in the water off the Gulf of Mexico, or in the Gulf of Mexico. And we know we've got one over here, but we don't see it up, right? Somewhere around that general region near the Med. Okay, AWACS, advanced warning. You can see this one bouncing out of Japan and kind of goes dark. You can see some little flurry of activity. Pretty common there down in Australia, especially that area near Sydney. But definitely see there's that shoelace looking flight. Then we'll get over here to the U.S. And again, out over that danger area, we just saw the R-135 go out as well, right out here, right? That's all that ship traffic that comes by. So they're looking at the ships. Makes you think of Club Ks, all right? If you're not familiar with Club K, just look it up. But look at this. Look at how thick this is, right? That's pretty thick, bouncing across Norway out over that Norwegian Sea to the top of the North Sea and then back over the North Sea. And then this is France, right? Got their little spin move there. Maybe a little man in the middle. And then you can see some activity going down towards Crete. And let me see. Yeah, again, a little bit over that side of the woods. All right, so let me show you this part. I think this is interesting. Look at the bomber activity, right? You see them taking off out of Shreveport. Where are they headed? Yeah, broken traces, a lot of them, up towards Alaska. So it looks like we just put a bunch of bombers up in Alaska, probably on top of what's already up there. I imagine there's already a lot of stuff up there. So, all right, I got nothing over Europe, which was interesting because I thought for sure we'd have something over Europe. But okay, last one before we go over to the news stuff. Just look at the air refuelers. This tells a story. Again, when you see those long traces, notice the long traces over the United States. Those long paths going, just kind of floating. Then all of the marshalling points between Florida all the way up the East Coast. And there's several over the United States too from a marshalling perspective. But look at the trace lines going across. That's an indicator you just sent a bunch of fighters over to Europe, in addition to what we already have. And then you'll see the broken traces here in a minute. But see how it goes heavy into England, heavy into Germany. And then you can see the marshalling patterns right there on that forward eastern flank. And then you can see the transitions into Kuwait, into the Middle East. Yeah. And of course, Japan down into Okinawa. A little bit of fighter activity going on down there too. And then a little blip down in Australia, which is just a blip. Okay. Now let's get into some of the news cycle, and we'll come back to, because I do still want to show you the Omnis, and I want to show you the Global X and where those guys are headed, because those are moving your illegals all around the United States, etc. Okay. So we're going to talk first and foremost. Let's just bounce in. I do want to take you to Flight Radar 24, just because there's a lot of volcanic activity going on out here north of Australia, down into, kind of Southeast Asia. There's two right here. So that's Dukono and Ibu. And then, of course, we got all these others that are puffing. And when you see them pop up on the map, it's because there has been some type of an aviation alert issued in association with these, okay? But we back up. You got this one down here towards New Zealand. And then we get in here, you can just see all the way up the normal locations. And then a couple here in Central America. All right. Just want to point that out, all right? Okay, let's talk Guantanamo Bay for just a brief minute. I think this is kind of an interesting data point. It just goes to show you that they continue to fly people down there and they continue to wipe those flights. Now, we know we've got typical troop rotation. We've got contractor stuff. We've got the Uber for legal eagles, all kinds of different things that pop in and out. This is a regular, the TCN. What I want to show you here is this flight that has been wiped. This is Global X, all right? The fact that Global X is flying as a camber flight, I find interesting. But notice it comes out of Washington, D.C. on Saturday down to Guantanamo Bay, and then it leaves and goes back to Washington, D.C. from Guantanamo Bay. All right? But then you go back over to the board. That is not on there. So it's being wiped. They show these, but they take the others. So anyway, just goes to show you there's always shenanigans at play there. All right. Okay, let's look at Flashbang schedule. Just notice I thought these were kind of some funny little data points for you. That the amount of states the president has visited this year, 8. Or maybe that's 8%. And then, of course, he's had 3 public events. That's all tied to, the campaign trail. And then he's left and been to 1 country. Yeah. He is just on it. All right. I'm not even going to mess around with what he's doing. I don't think anybody really cares, but okay. I don't know what's going on with our military. It's gone woke. This is just very sad to me because I know we've got a lot of folks that follow us that are Navy guys, and your Navy is just, I don't know what's happened. It's an embarrassment, honestly, to our country. This U.S. Navy introduces the first gender-neutral submarine and all that implies. I'm not even going to sit on that one too long. I just want to point that out because this is where our entire military is going. And when we get our butts kicked, we're going to know why. It's because of these stupid policies. And, we look like the village people. That's pretty much it. All right. All right. Look at this. Pay very close attention to this because this is where they're going, folks. If they get back into office, this is what their plan is. They're going to shut us down and they're going to come after us and they're going to make examples of us, just like they did J6 stuff. So this is old Hillary to Maddow. Sorry. We need criminal penalties for misinformation. The reality is they are the ones, this is projection. They are the ones that are pushing all of the bad information out there, but they want to turn around and come at us and blame it on us. Their plan is to lock us up. You think the Gestapo's bad now? You let them get 4 more years into power, right? Yeah, it's going to be bad. And look at this. This guy is a senior advisor to the lady that is trying to run for office. Oh, well, she's already in there. She just hasn't done anything. But look at this. He's called for the extermination of Donald Trump and his kind. This is a senior advisor. His kind is you and me, folks. Just remember that, okay? I just took you over here to what Hillary has to say, and she's talking about locking us up. And then you go over here and you got extermination, all right? They're coming for you and me. And this just makes you sick, but I will tell you, they're not going to stop till they get him. And the nuclear option is probably on the table. Just know that. Right? Trump says he'll never surrender. Yeah, we know that. We know that, look, they're trying to take him out because he is such a threat. But look, if they get him, our days are numbered. Our goose is cooked, okay? I've shown you all of the AI stuff that's running behind the scenes, and you get over to even on the tube, there's 50 AIs that constantly monitor and change everything around and grab everything that's been said and talked about, okay? That's just on the tube. DARPA's got 6 other programs out there they're running, and it's not just the tube. It's all over the internet. So, yeah, they're going to try to get you, all right? So, yet again, now this guy that did it was wearing a GoPro camera, right? Want to record it. And then the other piece, too, is he was a felony offender, and somehow he came from Hawaii, my understanding is, came to Florida. How did he get his hands on a gun? That's $1 million question. But the other piece, too, is he is tied to the neo-Nazis in Ukraine. He was over there trying to recruit foreign legions to come in and fight for Ukraine. So, this is very dangerous. And he is, every time he gets in public, everything he has to do, he's a risk. Because you got to look at his Secret Service. It's all DEI, and he doesn't have the best of the best protecting him. In fact, he's probably got the worst. You go look at the crew that's surrounding Kamala. It's all males, most of them in their prime. You turn around and look at Trump, and he's surrounded by probably the worst of the Secret Service. All right, look at this Defense Post as they come out. General Dynamics, now we talk about that war machine that is going on out there with the DS. That's the deep state. You guys know that, right? You'll hear Trump talk more and more about it. That's who he's going after. The last person went after these guys in terms of the intelligence community was JFK. So putting that out there as well. All right, General Dynamics to build more U.S. Navy replenishment ships in a $6.7 billion deal. They just signed that. We move on over to this one. Another one. U.S. Army orders over 200 Bradley A4s, or A4s, sorry. That font gets me every time. To replenish Ukraine deliveries, right? So they've given it all to Ukraine. Now they're in a panic mode. If we go to war, we got nothing to fight with. They're having to go out and order. that's in the billions as well. And then you get over here to this side, U.S. awards Raytheon, a $1.19 billion AMRAAM missile contract modification. So I just showed you billions upon billions upon billions. That is just in addition to what we're giving to other countries. We'll get into that as well. It is nonstop, folks. They are not being responsible with our tax dollars. And what is really sad is they are coming back after taxpayers, trying to make them collect or pay more as they try to collect more, getting blood from a stone. The irony is you can mail in a payment, the IRS loses that payment, and then they come after you with penalties, and it's up to you to prove that you made that payment. So you do so, then they don't want to still remove the penalties. So it's a ridiculous situation we are in, but it is one that's not going to go away anytime soon. All right. Okay. This is what's going on over the United States. Just notice out here, this is where the R-135 was. This is where the AWACS was. This is a shipping lane, and this is why it is a danger box off the left coast. Sorry. Then, of course, you can see we got them all around Florida. We've got them up the East Coast as well. And then this, I always find this box interesting because it's just a danger area that has been activated. But anyway, it's like almost like a radar box. It's kind of strange. I did want to point this out. Notice that this storm, it forms very quickly, but then it gets right here, and all of a sudden, it is projected to go hard north, like just a complete, just hard right and going north. The weird thing is you got the Germans down here doing experiments with their, this is their NASA/NOAA. They're doing weather modification stuff here, and the French are doing it here. Now, the Germans were here, and now they're here. But given the fact that they're out in this region messing with the weather systems, and you see this thing going hard north like that, it's definitely suspect. But we'll see. Maybe that changes. But that was the forecast, and it did have it going hard north. So we'll keep a close eye on that. But the other thing, too, had a 5.1 earthquake out in West Texas. I'm sure Dutch is covering that one. But let's just move on. But yeah, this out here. Let me see. This, I think, is, German Aerospace Center Atmospheric Research. So they are right here. This is the area I just showed you on the map where the storm, and this comes here, goes hard north. So keep an eye on that. All right. Over to Dover. We didn't really have much going on at Biggs Army Airfield, but just notice you got some big boys coming in, a couple Atlas Airs, Amerijet, the Reach, that's C-17. But then you get over here, just notice they are both going to Europe. All right, one's probably troops, one is probably equipment. All right, keep going. All right, here's your Brits. Strange, they're not over Britain. All right, so this one's rolling out of Canada, and then this one is actually headed out of Florida, westbound. If I back that up, I don't really see. Got a couple of things there deep into Europe. All right. Now, this is actually England, and it's active, especially this time of day, so that's a pretty full board. And it's a mix, U.S. assets as well as the English assets. What these are, I don't really know. One of them is going to be an R135, like Jake 17, but it's not the call sign. It's just the triple R call out. Nothing from NATO. We move on. This is going to be German Air Force. Again, they spread their wings. You can see them not in Germany. They're all over the place. That NATO role seems to be kind of expanding, and it's a little bit unnerving that you see a lot of them coming into the United States. Okay, and then, of course, this is RZE Poland Forward Operating Base. I don't see too much on the board. I see some base commanders coming in, but none of the heavies that we have typically seen. So we'll move on from that. Check this out. Putin orders a third troop expansion of war, making his army basically the second largest after China. So this means that the Russian armed forces will include 1.5 million active servicemen going into the winter. It also is a clear signal that Russia doesn't plan on reducing anything, that they are basically all in. And if you count the reserve forces of Russia, you're at 2.3 million people. So they just edged the United States out a little bit. So again, we're headed breakneck speed to war. No doubt about that. And then here's your other bohica. You want to talk about your tax dollars. You feel like you just have vacuums being attached to your pockets because our government is spending like nobody's business. Look at this. Ukraine, they say, oh, hey, we can produce more weapons, but we need more money. And so get ready. I'm absolutely positive somebody here in our government has already signed the check. All right. He says here that their production capacity equal would be about $20 billion, but could only manage to fund about $7 billion with their own budget. Well, their own budget came from us to begin with. So that means they are under a shortfall, and they're going to be looking to NATO and the United States to fill the gap. All right. All right. This is Constanta, and this is the largest and one of the most leading edge forward operating bases in the region. If we go up here to the map, just to give you a general idea, this is the Black Sea. This is Constanta, right? So RZE Poland is kind of tucked in here. It would be a forward operating base for Ukraine, but this takes you straight over. I mean, Crimea is pretty close. Moldova's close. But you go down, it's pretty busy. It's pretty active. You can see a lot of stuff. There's some intelligence planes coming in and out, some C-130s, some base commanders, etc. Now, look at this. This is an interesting deal because as you look at that area near Constanta, look at what Russia has just done. It said they just deployed 4 missile carriers with missile capacity of 24 caliber missiles into the Black Sea. So we get back over here to our main, and you can see as I was showing you this is the Black Sea. All right, this is Crimea. This is Russia. This is, us over here. This is where we are. And but here the reality is they just pumped them in. So you got the Russians pretty hot and heavy into the Black Sea. So pay attention to that one. And here's just more of your money being spent. U.S. releases $1.3 billion of your money in military aid to Egypt. All right. This is just yet another slap in the face to Israel and to everybody else in the region, but as well as you and me, the taxpayer. But $1.3 billion. This is military aid. That means you ain't getting it back. All right. This isn't sales that we're going to book and make money off of. This is $1.3 billion in aid. All right. Now, our last story here. Explosions rock a Russian airbase hosting Putin's nuclear bombers. That's a little concerning. But, here's the thing. Here's one of the Bear. It's called the Bear. It's a Tu-95 strategic bomber. Yeah, and this is their version of the air refueler. You can see the little basket. But, we just talked about the fact that we are on the brink of World War III, that we just green-lighted Ukraine to basically go deep into Russia with their attacks. And this is no different. I mean, we're sitting here hitting base locations that have nukes on them. You're just escalating. That's all we're doing is just putting more of those war tokens into the machine. It's just a matter of time. It's going to pop. Something will happen. Will it be, Ukraine causing it, or will it be something that happens in Syria? Let's just wait and see. But like I said before, we're headed to breakneck speed World War III. All right. All right, folks. So listen, that's going to do it for SITREP today. We'll see you on Thursday for the next one. If you're over in the live chat, just sit tight. We'll be with you here in just a minute. That's it. You guys be safe. God bless. Monkey out. Artisan handcrafted soaps. Get yours in the Monkey Werx shop today.